Thank you. Thank you very much for the applause. Thank you. All right, this is our second video, and yesterday was 40 minutes. That wasn't the worst. This one hopefully will be a little short. It might stay commercial, and we'll see how it goes. And so once again, I'm going to rely on you pausing. I want to move right along with the story of Fatima. We left off and we were taking apart the famous third apparition on July 13th, and what was part of the prophecy. So this is called Our Lady of Fatima Note Worksheet 2. It's a front and back, okay? And so we're going to finish it today, so let's go. Number one question says, who will allow this to happen as punishment for man's sin? This is redundant. It is God. I'm presuming you know how to spell God. So we're going to move on. He just allowed it. We already talked about that. If a request are converted, who will convert Russia? And so I'm presuming you know how to spell Russia. Pause it if you need to. We're moving on. And what did Mary say will triumph in the end? Her Immaculate Heart. Pope Benedict XVI ended in his interpretation of the prophecy with this right here, that her Immaculate Heart will triumph. And so again, it puts us to the focus of the Blessed Mother and the importance of having devotion to her. The last thing Mary did was to teach them a new prayer. We're still in July 13th. Oh my Jesus, forgive us our sins, save us from the fires of hell, lead all souls to heaven, especially those who most need thy mercy. Shay, when do we say this prayer? That is absolutely correct. Thank you, Shay. We say that at the end of each decade of the Rosary. And I'm sure everybody else knew that too. And what is the third secret? Explain. First and second secret was the vision of hell and the warning of another war coming on. And number 4, who taught us to say that prayer? Mary did. She taught the prayer. Number 5, who are the only two that had the third secret, knew the third secret? Third secret remained only for the Pope to see. And they did that every time a new Pope was elected. They were allowed to look at the third secret of Fatima. In the 80s and 90s, only Pope John Paul II and Cardinal Ratzinger had read the secret. That, you might not be able to spell Ratzinger, so that's number 5. So you can pause it if you need it. John Paul II is the first blank. The second blank is Cardinal Ratzinger. So remember, I was teaching in the 90s already, late 90s, and we talked about the third secret, and I knew way back then that these two knew the third secret. Okay, first part of the secret, I already explained to that. Here it is, fiery sword, and the angel, notice he's holding it in his left hand, and notice what Mary's doing. Notice here's the earth right here. Remember that. Okay, this is the first part of the third secret. And the first thing they saw is that vision right here. The angel holding a fiery sword, Mary with her hand holding him back, his right hand pointing to earth, and he's saying, penance, penance, penance. That's what the 3 children saw. Okay, and what is the angel holding? A fiery sword. So that is number 6. I'm sure they go in order. Number 7, what does it appear that the sword is ready to strike? The earth. That's number 7. Number 8, who is stopping the angel? Mary, the Blessed Mother is. And when the angel points to the earth with his left hand, what does he say? Penance, penance, penance. Okay, so you just heard that story twice. This is what the 3 children saw. And I want you to pause it. Pause. Okay, we're moving on. Then again, here it is again. So, let's keep going. Cardinal Ratzinger wrote the interpretation of the vision. And that is number 10. And while you're writing it, one thing I didn't add in this PowerPoint, which just occurred to me, is after Cardinal Ratzinger wrote it, before he made it public, he sent it to Sister Lucia, who's still alive back then. She actually saw this. She's the one that wrote it down. And she returns back and she said the vision was given to us children, but the interpretations for the church, and she saw no problem with it. She had to make no corrections. Then it was later published. He says that mankind has forged a fiery sword. So what is the fiery sword that mankind has made? Think. Doug. There's no Doug. Why did I say Doug? Oh, man, what was I thinking of? Don't know. Oh, Ben, what's the fiery sword? That is correct. The fiery sword is the atomic bomb. Okay, and he does not say that. He just says mankind has forged a fiery sword. So write that in, atomic bomb, which is number 11. And who in the Bible said the world would be destroyed by fire? And after the Pope said that, I remembered this, I looked it up, and it was St. Peter in his letter. He makes reference that the world, remember the world was destroyed by water in the flood. He said at the end of time it'll be destroyed by fire. And can the atomic bomb destroy the earth? The answer is actually yes, it can. Between the nuclear winter, the fallout, the messing with the atmosphere, the radiation covering the earth, yeah, it can get pretty nasty. And if a big atomic bomb went off in Omaha, would the fiery winds fry everything in David City? And the answer is yes. In one of the Terminator movies, it actually starts off with a bomb going off and the fiery wind just rolling through the countryside and everybody getting fried on this playground. It was actually very well done and very scientific on exactly what would happen. So I don't remember which one that is. If I had the time, I'd actually look for a clip of that and put it next. So it might be next. Who knows? Anyway, let's go to the next one. And there is one of the many pictures you can find of the atomic. Now right here is where everything gets vaporized, but then further out from the explosion, and I don't know how I did that, from the explosion, then you have the fiery wind that's rolling. So anyway, that is what the atomic bomb looks like. That's probably a small one. And this is the third. This is then the vision changes. This vision, or this picture, put all of it together. We're going to focus on down over here, the cross and the angels and the Pope. Here's a better picture. This one, it's not true. In the vision, Jesus wasn't on the cross. It was just a cross. It's also true that the Pope is there at the foot of the cross. You can see the blood right there. And then these are other people climbing the hill. So this is, I'm going to read this to you. I'm zooming in on it while I read it. And we're going to keep moving on and take it apart. And this is what Lucia wrote. And we saw an immense light that is God, something similar to how people appear in a mirror when they pass in front of it. A bishop dressed in white. We had the impression that it was the Holy Father. Other bishops and priests, men and women, religious, going up a steep mountain, at the top of which there was a big cross of rough-hewn trunks as of cork tree with the bark. Before reaching there, the Holy Father passes through a big city, half in ruins and half trembling, with halting step. Afflicted with pain and sorrow, he prayed for the souls of the corpses he met on the way. Having reached the top of the mountain on his knees at the foot of the big cross, he was killed by a group of soldiers who fired bullets and arrows at him. Those are her own words. And in the same way, there died on one after another the other bishops, priests, men and women religious, and various lay people of different ranks and position. Beneath the two arms of the cross there were two angels, each with a crystal asporium in his hand, in which they gathered up the blood of the martyrs, and with it sprinkled the souls that were making their way to God. Written on January 4th, 1944. Okay, let's take it apart. Now this picture I like. Here's the angel with the blood of the martyrs. Here's people dying on the way. There's soldiers with guns and bow and arrows. There's a city half in ruins, and half of the city have people trembling. And you can see the bishops and priests here being shot too, and the religious sisters. There's a monk on the ground right there, all being shot too. And this is the really rough tree bark on these branches that she saw. So I think this is a very good picture of what she saw. The famous third secret was the prophecy that the Pope would be shot and killed. So I'm going to see what number we're on. Number 15. Who was the Pope of the third secret who was shot? We're not there yet. And this was fulfilled May 13th, 1981. John Paul II was shot but not killed. So John Paul II admitted that he was the Pope that was shot. So I asked the question, who was the Pope? And it was Pope John Paul II. That's number 15. Number 16, the exact date he was shot is May 13th, the anniversary of the first apparition of Fatima, 1981. And nobody believes it was a coincidence he was shot on May 13th. And guess who paid for the assassin? Did he get killed? Yes or no? If you don't know that, then you got problems, because no, he did not get killed. And it was Russia that paid for the assassin. We know that as a fact. Russia paid for the assassin. And what is the nationality of the assassin? Do you think he's Russian? You are wrong. He's Muslim. That's really not his nationality, it's his religion. But he's actually obviously from the Middle East, and he was Muslim. Alright, so pause it if you need it. And pause. Alright, number 19. He was shot. There's the gunman right there. There's the gun in the red circle. He's shooting the Pope, shot him 3 times, and the photographer got him as he fell down after he got shot. This Jeep right here is in the Vatican Museum. It has all the vehicles, not all the vehicles of Pope, but a lot of them. This one is in the Vatican Museum. And yes, it's an American-made Jeep. And on May 13, 1982, Pope John Paul II is thanking Mary for saving his life. You can actually find on the internet the prayer he said, thanking the Blessed Mother. And this is where he did it. 1982. So the answer for number 19, the exact date is May 13th, 1982. So everybody write that down. And this is Sister Lucia in 1982. She's, I don't know, I can't guess how old she is, but Pope John Paul II visited with her then. And here's another picture of both the two visions together, the angel, the Blessed Mother, the cross, the two angels, the guys with guns, the Pope being shot. And why didn't the Pope die like the prophecy said? The children said the vision was like looking into a mirror. In other words, the future is not written in stone. It can be changed. Number 20. Is the future written in stone? No. Can the future be changed? Yes. And in 1917, the Pope was destined to die. So, if things would have took place as they were destined to way back in 1917, the Pope would have been shot and killed. But because of many prayers and the Pope's own devotion to the Blessed Mother, by 1981, by all the prayers for the Pope, the destiny had changed. He was shot but did not get killed. Okay, number 21. Did the fourth apparition happen on August 13th? No. It was supposed to happen on August 13th, but it did not happen. And why not? The police chief took the children and tried to get them to tell him the secret of July 13th. That's number 22. I'm going to get out of the way. This is the longest one you have to write. I expect every word. The police chief took the children and tried to get them to tell him the secret of July 13th. Okay, I'm not going to read it a second time. I'm going to let you pause it right now. So pause. And now we're moving on. 23. What was he going to throw them in? Remember that from the video? I think you do. See which one out there remembers. Let me see here. How about Matthew? Remember the video? That's right. He was going to throw them into boiling hot oil. I should have this underlined. But remember, that was in first grade. That was really scary. When they said that I'm going to throw you into the hot burning oil. Ah! That's scary just thinking about it. Alright, so there's your answer to number 23. 3 words. 24, did Lucia really think that both her friends were dead? Remember they first took little Jacinta. Tell me the secret. No! Throw her into the burning oil, the boiling oil. Then Francisco, tell me the secret. No, throw him into the oil. And then Lucia thinking like, my 2 friends are dead. And she goes, tell me the secret. And she does not. So they're thrown out to die. And finally, and she thought both of her friends were dead. So the answer to that is yes. She really did believe both her friends were dead. And she would not tell them, and she sees her cousins alive. Off the subject, how are they related? Lucia to the other 2? The other 2 were brothers and sisters, Francisco and Jacinta, but they're cousins. Right there, cousins. So I want you to write in cousin for number 25. And the date that it actually took place, and so yeah, he was bluffing. He didn't really kill them, and they were thrown in jail. They said the rosary in jail, and then they were released. The apparition actually took place August 19th, which would be 6 days later. And I found out when I was in Fatima, it actually took place at a different place than it was normally at. And they actually have a little statue up where it took place. Alright, that's August 19th. And the last one on this page, so we're going fast, we might get a commercial. And did Mary look happy or sad? Oh, there's the chief of police. Apparently that's what his uniform looked like. And she again promises the miracles and tells them to pray the rosary every day. Lucia wants to know what to do with all the money that they leave there. So people are leaving money at the spot of the apparition. Mary said, use it for the feast of Our Lady of the Rosary and use the rest towards the building of the church that would be built there. So, nope, we're not there yet. And she said she would do some cures before the end of the year because a lot of people asked her for miracles. And then it says, Mary then looking very sad said, pray, pray very much and make sacrifices for sinners. For many souls go to hell because there are none to sacrifice themselves and to pray for them. So before you turn the page, I want you to put sad or very sad. That is number 27. Okay? Then I want you to turn the page. And on number 28, where do poor sinners go? Poor sinners go to hell. Right there, it's underlined. These are Mary's words, that many souls go to hell. So poor sinners go to hell. And then why? Number 28. Why? Because no one is sacrificing themselves or praying for them. So number 28 has two parts. The second part has two parts. The why. There's no one to sacrifice them, for them, or to pray for them. I guess if you were to summarize it, no one to sacrifice or pray for them. No one to sacrifice or pray for them. Or you can write the whole sentence. Again, this is a long one. You might have to go slightly below the line. I want you to pause it. Pause. Okay, we're continuing. And then she ascends to the east. That is number 29. Every time she left, the children said she would go off towards the east and then disappear into the air. And why east? That's a good question, because that is direction of heaven. So, if you go to a funeral, when people are buried, they are buried so their head is to the west. So if they sit up, they would look towards the east, because the Bible said that, Jesus actually said it in the Bible, that when he returns, he will come from the east with all of his angels. So Mary comes from the east. Why? Because she's from heaven. Mary goes off to the east. Why? She is from heaven. So, and up until maybe 100 years ago, all churches were built so that the priest would face the tabernacle and face east. Because at the Mass we're praying to God, and so we would face east because that's where God is. And then for whatever reason, in the 20th century, they let them put the churches north and south and all sorts of different directions. But if you go to Rome, you'll find it almost 100%. All the ancient churches, when the priest was saying Mass at the high altar, everyone was facing east. We were at a church in Baltimore, and they, for whatever reason, they couldn't build it so that everybody would face east. The pews were on a hinge, and you would sit facing the priest during the homily, but during the Eucharistic prayer, people would fold the thing around so that then there was nothing in the way for them to kneel down facing east. That's how important it was. I never saw that before. I think I've seen two churches that had pews that would revolve so that you could face east. So that gives you a hint on how much it was in the church's mind important to facing east. Now I have to explain it over and over again because we've totally lost it. But just because we've lost it, I would say you guys need to regain that. The importance of east. And so Muslims stole that from us to face Mecca, because when Muhammad was writing it in the 700s, he knew that all Christians faced east, because all Christians were Catholic. And so that's where he stole that from. So while I was talking, I hope you wrote this down. I'm not going to explain anymore. So pause it if you didn't get that written down. And we move on. The fifth apparition, September 13th. Would Our Lady say, continue to pray the rosary in order to obtain the end of the war. In October, our Lord will come, as well as Our Lady of Sorrows and Our Lady of Mount Carmel. Saint Joseph will appear with the child Jesus to bless the world. God is pleased with your sacrifice. He does not want you to sleep with the rope on, but only to wear it during the daytime. So, the day, number 31, the day of the fifth apparition, September 13th. Number 32, is Lucia supposed to sleep with the rope on it? No. Is it okay for her to wear it during the day? Yes. What was the rope? The rope was like a hair shirt. It was a rough rope, and she put it underneath her clothes. And she felt it there during the day, and it was uncomfortable, and she was doing it for penance. She was doing it for penance. I'm going to take some of my comfort away, and I'm going to offer this up for the conversion of sinners. And she was wearing it at night, and she wasn't sleeping well, and so Jesus says, no, don't do that. You can wear it during the day, but not at night. So it was a sign of God as Father, caring for His children. Like, okay, you're going too far. All right. And Lucia asked for cures again, and Mary said, yes, I will cure some, but not others. In October, perform a miracle so that all may believe. And now we're at number 33. Now, sixth apparition. The date is October 13th, 1917. What was the weather like? Rainy. It was downpours. It was muddy. Everybody was walking in mud. It was just a terrible day. This is the day of the miracle. News of possible miracle brought thousands, actually 70 to 80,000 people to be alive. Believers and non-believers. The tree is gone. There's a wood frame there marking where it's at. But the tree is gone. Finally, Mary tells her name. This is 34. They begin praying the rosary. Mary appears. Lucia says, what do you want of me? I want to tell you that a chapel is to be built here in my honor. I am the Lady of the Rosary. So we're on number 34. Is the tree still there? No. Finally, Mary tells her name. What is it? Our Lady of the Rosary. And 35. What is going to end? Continue always to pray the Rosary every day. The war is going to end. So the answer is war, World War I. And the soldiers will soon return to their homes. So number 35. Who will return home? The soldiers. Okay, we're going. Next one is 36. I want you right now to pause it. This is all which is said before the miracle took place. Okay, pause. Here we go. I have many things to ask you, the cure of some sick persons, the conversion of sinners, and other things. Mary, some yes, but other no to others. They must amend their lives and ask forgiveness of sins. And so, number 36, what must people do before they get cured? Some of them need to amend their lives and ask forgiveness of sins. So in other words, she's saying there's some people there, they want to be cured, but they're not at all interested about changing their way. It's kind of like, I got this terrible disease, Mary, I just want you to cure me, and once I'm cured, I'm going right back to the bar and getting drunk every single day and doing all sorts of sinful stuff. And Mary's thinking like, no, I think we need to change your life a little bit and make a good confession. Maybe leave the partying days behind. You see why Mary's saying that? Why would she want to cure somebody just to go out and sin? Very good point. Okay, hopefully you were writing this down for number 36, 37. Mary looked very sad. Do not offend the Lord our God anymore, because he is already so much offended. And number 37, when Mary opened her hands, what did she opened her hands and the light shined towards the sun. The answer to 37 is the sun, right here. So remember when it was hell, her hands opened up and then the ground opened up. Now she goes like this. Rays come out of her hand, penetrates through the cloud into the sun. And then Lucia shouts, look at the sun. That's number 38. So Lucia just watches where the rays go. She looks up and says, look at the sun. And everybody looks at the sun, and you know what they see? They see the clouds, the dark clouds open up, and in the middle of that little hole they can see the sun shining. And then the sun starts moving around, changing colors. And so they're looking at the sun on a cloudy day. The clouds open just enough to see the sun, and it's changing colors and moving around the sky. Number 39, changing colors and moving around the sky. That's what the sun is doing. Pause it if you need it. That's 39, that's kind of long. Number 40, at one point it looks like the sun is falling to the earth and people panic. They thought it was the end of the world. So number 40 is end of the world, okay? So what I want you to do now is I want you to pause this. There are some long ones there. And if you remember the video that we saw, all this scene was in there. So, and again, it's going to depend on how much time I got tonight. I might actually use a clip from that video of the miracle of the sun. And what do the children see? They see St. Joseph holding the child Jesus, and both bless the world. Number 41, who did the three children see? Name three. St. Joseph is one of them. I think that's interesting. You know that Jesus is blessing the world, but Joseph is allowed to bless the world too. I found that fascinating. They saw Our Lady of Sorrows, that's number 2. And Our Lady of Mount Carmel, that's number 3. So write those 3 down on number 41. Now we're on 42. Back to the miracle. What do we call this miracle? Christopher. No, we don't call that. It's a nice try. Is it Marcus? You're annoying back there. Marcus, yes. Yes, that's right. Miracle of the sun. Thank you, Marcus. Miracle of the sun. And it lasts for about 15 minutes. Do I ask that? Yep, number 43. How long did it last? So miracle of the sun in 15 minutes. At the end, when the sun went back to normal, they find that there is not a cloud in the sky and that everything is dry. Ground, clothes, etc. So number 44. After the 15-minute miracle, what was the other miracle? Everything was dry. I read articles where they were saying like, oh, maybe they were seeing this phenomenon of just the rain being just perfect, so it looked like the sun was doing it. But they never even touched on how to explain everything being slop and wet, and 15 minutes later you're being completely dry. Okay, if I threw a bucket of water over you, and I don't care how hot the sun is, I'll put $1,000 that you won't be dry. You know, and these people are wearing layers in 15 minutes. Not going to happen, okay? So, that miracle cannot be done away with. Now we're on number 45. Even an atheist can't explain it. All right, let me go back. I want you to pause this. Pause. All right, next one. These are actual pictures. This one is not, that's why there's color. This is from a movie, but notice the wood frame built around it. The movie was accurate, that's what it looked like. This one right here, as you can see, I'm zooming in on it. This is actual footage. Now I'm zooming in on this one with people kneeling down. Actual footage. Same with this one. This is actual pictures being taken place that was going on. So, and you can kind of see what the ground looks like. I was there. Obviously where all this took place is blacktop right now, but the ground is very stony with only patches of grass in there. So anyway, we're going to keep going. This is a newspaper article, and in one of my books it's actually interpreted the article. They printed pictures, either from the newspaper. No, this is the one where it started. People are holding their umbrella. Why are they holding an umbrella? Because it was raining. Over here the rain stopped and people are looking up at the sun. So anyway, did an atheist newspaper have to admit that it could not be explained? Yes. In the article, the author says that he doesn't believe in God, but he said, this is what I saw. And he explained it exactly how I explained it to you. And he says, I don't know how it happened, but it happened. Did they build a church there? Yes. This was the first church built there. There's other churches there now. And this is a candlelight procession they're having there. So, number 46. What was eventually built on that spot? A church. Not the exact spot. There's about 100 yards from the exact spot. The rest of the story. Did Francisco die first? Yes. Francisco did at 47. The year is 1919. April 4th. We're in April. He died 1919. So his anniversary of his death was last year. On April 4th. Jacinta also gets sick. Mary appears her in the hospital and asks her that she will take her to heaven now, or she can stay on earth and suffer more for the conversion of sinners. So Mary's in the hospital, or excuse me, Jacinta's in the hospital. Mary appears to her. Okay, you got a choice. I'll take you to heaven right now, or you can stay on earth and suffer more for the conversion of sinners. I know what I would say. Yeah, I'm ready to go to heaven, but I'm selfish. What does Jacinta say? Jacinta says, where's my remote control? Oh, it's on the ground. Jacinta says, to stay on earth and suffer more for the conversion of sinners, which is the answer for number 49. So number 48, who dies second? Jacinta does. And when asked, what does she choose? Suffer more for sinners. Number 49 is not very long. And so I just put 3 words, suffer more for sinners. Suffer for sinners. There's 3 words, suffer for sinners. That's your number 49. Number 50, which sin leads most people to hell? Oh. So after that, they took her to Lisbon, and part of the suffering was she was alone because her parents couldn't afford to drive to Lisbon. And she was suffering there physically. They were doing everything they could to try to stop it. Our Lady told her which sin leads most people to hell, and she said it was sins of impurity. The most popular sins of the 20th and 21st century are the ones that lead most people to hell. Sins of impurity. That's number 50. Number 51. She dies February 20th, 1920. So at St. Mary's, I had the Mass on February 20th, and all I talked about was Jacinta, who 100 years ago that day had died. And fortunately, I had Mass there because there was no pandemic. So that's number 51. If you need to, I want you to pause it. Pause. And now we move on. The Great Promise, December 10th. Mary and the child Jesus appeared to Lucia. Number 52, we're not there. Oh, who appears to Mary on December 10th? Mary and child Jesus. There's 3 blanks there. Mary and child Jesus. Number 53, what 2 things causes Mary's heart? This is what Jesus said, have compassion on the heart of your most holy mother, covered with thorns, with which ungrateful men pierce it every moment, and there is no one to make an act of reparation to remove them. Mary, look, my daughter, at my heart, surrounded with thorns with which ungrateful men pierce me at every moment by their blasphemies and ingratitude. Answer number 53. Blasphemes and ingratitude. Let me repeat that. Look at my heart, surrounded with thorns with which ungrateful men pierce me at every moment by their blasphemies and ingratitude. You at least try to console me and say that I promise to assist at the hour of death with the graces necessary for salvation. For all those who on first Saturdays of 5 consecutive months shall confess, receive Holy Communion, recite 5 decades of the Rosary, and keep me company for 15 minutes while meditating on the 15 mysteries of the Rosary with the intention to make reparation to me. And so notice 5 is underlined. So one of the first devotions I ever did in my life was the first Friday. And it's only because I'm always worried about getting to heaven that I wanted as much help as possible. So as I said before, 53 is blasphemes and ingratitude. Number 54, how many first Saturdays do we need to go? 5. We needed to go to 5 first Saturdays. And name the 4 things that we would need to do on first Saturday. Hopefully I got here. There it is. So the 4 things are Mass, Communion, Confession, Rosary. Those are the 4 things you have to do on first Saturday. They have to be offered up in reparation, meaning, Mary, I'm doing this to make up for you. But I want you to write these 4 things down. Mass, Communion, Confession, Rosary. 15 minutes meditation. So what did she promise? I promise to assist at the hour of death with the graces necessary for salvation. So why do I do the first Saturdays? For one good reason, I want to go to heaven. Okay? So, I thank you. If this is short enough, I might do a clip of the Ron and Ron show. And that's the end of Our Lady of Fatima. Tomorrow morning, very early, you'll see the video on YouTube for St. Bernadette. And we got only 2 more note worksheets to do. So I want to thank you, and again, thank you for the applause. Thank you. All right, see you later.